In the history of data, there are these rivalries that just define an entire era. They're clashes of philosophy, of technology, of pure ambition. Today, we're diving deep into one of the biggest conflicts shaping our digital world right now, the Great Lakehouse War. They began at opposite ends of the data universe. One was order, and the other was chaos. One worshipped SQL, the other Spark. Look, this is way more than just a story about two companies. It's a tale of two absolute titans, born from completely different ways of thinking, who are now locked in this incredible battle for the future. Okay, so let's get right into it. To really get this war, you first have to understand the two completely opposing worlds these giants came from. I mean, they could not have been more different. And this, right here, just nails that core difference. On one side, you've got Snowflake. That's the world of order, of reliability, all built on the familiar foundation of SQL. You should really think of it as the iPhone of data. It's elegant, it's simple, it just works right out of the box. But on the other side, that's Databricks, pure chaos born from the raw, untamed power of Spark. This is the Linux workstation of the data world. It's powerful, you can customize it endlessly, and it's probably covered in stickers. It's the tool for engineers who love to get their hands dirty and build things from scratch. So let's start with the champion of order. We've got to go back to the beginning to see how Snowflake just completely rewrote the rules for what a data warehouse could be in the cloud. So the story kicks off back in 2012. And while pretty much the rest of the industry was just trying to jam old database models into the cloud, three engineers were off in a corner, quietly building something that, honestly, a lot of people didn't even think was possible. And the big idea here, the absolute game changer, was building a cloud data warehouse where storage and compute were two totally separate things. This was revolutionary. It really was the iPhone moment for databases. Suddenly, there were no knobs to turn, no complex tuning to worry about, absolutely no drama. It felt like magic because for the very first time, this incredibly powerful enterprise-grade data warehouse, well, it just worked. All right, so while Snowflake was busy creating this beautiful, ordered universe, a rebellion was brewing on the complete opposite side of the data world, a totally different approach to handling information at a massive scale. And this revolution, it didn't come from some slick, polished startup. Nope, it was born in an academic lab at UC Berkeley. And its whole philosophy was the polar opposite of Snowflake's. It wasn't clean, it wasn't structured, and it was absolutely not built for the tidy, predictable world of SQL. This was Spark, the engine designed from the ground up for that messy, unstructured, chaotic world of big data that traditional warehouses just couldn't handle. It quickly became the go-to for engineers, that powerful, flexible Linux workstation we were talking about. It's the tool you grab when the problem is huge, complicated, and not very well defined. So for a long time, these two giants actually lived pretty peacefully in their own separate kingdoms. One ruled the structured world, and the other ruled the unstructured world. But, peace in the tech industry, it rarely lasts. And then the invasion began. You see, for years, the lines were drawn really clearly in the sand. Warehouses did warehouse things, business intelligence, reporting, structured analytics. Data lakes did lake things. That's machine learning, data science on raw, messy files. Everybody stayed in their lane. It was simple. But then, that truce was broken. Databricks, they struck first. They launched a series of really strategic moves that sent a crystal clear message directly at Snowflake. And that message basically forced Snowflake to fire back. The Cold War, it was officially over. So, the critical piece is how they did it. Databricks launched this thing called Delta Lake, and it was a brilliant move. What they did was they put this structured, governed layer right on top of their chaotic data lake. It made sure data transactions were reliable, what we call ACID compliant in the industry. All of a sudden, their world of chaos had rule. And right after that, they launched their SQL warehouse. The message to Snowflake could not have been any clearer. It was a direct shot, basically saying, hey, that clean, fast, structured world that you own, yeah, we can do that too. Now, Snowflake, of course, was not about to just sit back and let this invasion happen. No way. They saw the attack on their territory, and they got their counteroffensive ready. Snowflake responded with Snowpark. And this was a powerful new framework for developers, letting them use languages like Python and Java right inside the Snowflake platform. And that single counterattack kicked off the final act of this whole conflict.
It's the race that basically defines the entire industry today. It is the race to build the ultimate prize, the lakehouse.
What's so wild about this part of the story is the convergence. You have these two companies born as total polar opposites, order and chaos, and now they're in a flat-out sprint toward the exact same goal. Why? Well, because the market is demanding it. The lines between analytics and data science, they've blurred. Customers want one platform that does everything. So now these two rivals are becoming more and more like each other with every single feature they release. So what is this grand prize they're both fighting for? The Lakehouse. It's basically the holy grail of modern data platforms. The idea is a single, unified system that gives you the best of both worlds. You get the rock-solid reliability and performance of a data warehouse, but you combine it with the incredible flexibility and scale of a data lake. This is the battleground where Snowflake is adding more developer tools like Snowpark, and Databricks is adding more and more governance and SQL performance, each trying to prove they are the one system to rule them all. And that brings us to the biggest question in the entire data world today. In this Great Lakehouse War, with both of these titans charging toward the same territory from opposite ends of the universe, who is going to be the one to ultimately define the future of data?